Rain cascaded down the windshield of my truck, creating a symphony of water droplets. It was a stormy night, and I had miles to go before reaching my destination. The desolate highway stretched ahead of me, its black surface glistening under the glow of the truck's headlights. As I maneuvered through the rain-soaked road, my mind wandered to the stories I had heard from fellow truckers' tales of supernatural encounters on these very highways. I dismissed them as nothing more than exaggerated campfire tales, comforting myself with the thought that such things couldn't possibly exist. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows on the side of the road. It was a hitchhiker, drenched and shivering in the downpour. Against my better judgment, I felt a pang of sympathy and decided to stop and offer a helping hand. I pulled over, and the hitchhiker approached my window. Their clothes were tattered, barely clinging to their frail form. But what struck me the most was their unsettling smiley grin that seemed to stretch unnaturally, revealing a row of yellowed, jagged teeth. "Thank you for stopping," they said, their voice barely above a whisper. "My car broke down a few miles back, and I've been stranded out here in the rain for hours." Despite the nagging feeling of unease, I couldn't bring myself to turn them away. I unlocked the passenger door, and the hitchhiker climbed inside, water dripping onto the floor of the truck. They introduced themselves as Samuel, their voice carrying an eerie undertone. As we continued down the highway, Samuel's behavior grew increasingly peculiar. He would sit in silence for long stretches, staring at me with hollow, vacant eyes. At times, he would mutter to himself in a language I couldn't comprehend, a chilling chant that sent shivers down my spine. The atmosphere inside the truck became heavy, as if an invisible weight had settled upon us. The temperature seemed to drop, and I found myself involuntarily shivering. But I brushed it off, determined to focus on reaching my destination and delivering the cargo safely. Hours passed, and fatigue gnawed at my bones. The rain persisted, pounding against the truck's metal frame. And then, Samuel's whispers grew louder, filling the cabin with an eerie presence. It was as if the very air around us had turned sinister. I glanced at Samuel, searching for answers, but his gaze was fixed on something unseen, a malevolence that only he could perceive. The radio, which had been playing a soft melody, crackled to life, emitting a chorus of haunting whispers that seemed to echo from the depths of the beyond. Fear gripped my heart, constricting it like a vice. I slammed my foot on the brakes, bringing the truck to a sudden stop. I turned to Samuel, my voice quivering with a mix of desperation and terror. "Get out! Leave my truck!" I shouted, my words laced with an urgency I couldn't explain. But as I turned to face him, my heart froze in my chest. Samuel had vanished, leaving behind only an empty seat. The rain beat down on the truck's roof, drowning out the sound of my frantic breaths. The realization struck me like a bolt of lightning. I had picked up a ghostly hitchhiker. Panic consumed me as I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, desperate to escape the supernatural encounter. The rain-soaked highway blurred before my eyes as I pushed the truck to its limits, the engine roaring in protest. Finally, the storm began to recede, and I found myself on a clear stretch of road. The hitchhiker's haunting laughter, chilling and filled with malevolence, echoed through the confines of my mind. It was a sound that would haunt my nightmares for years to come. From that night on, I vowed to never pick up hitchhikers again. The memory of Samuel, the spectral hitchhiker with his unsettling grin and ghostly presence, would forever serve as a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk on the lonely highways of the world. The moon hid behind a blanket of clouds as I embarked on another lonely night of trucking. The road stretched out before me, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the desolate countryside. I had traversed these highways countless times, but tonight, an otherworldly encounter awaited me. As I cruised down the darkened highway, a thick fog crept in, reducing visibility to a mere few feet. I strained my eyes, struggling to discern the path ahead. And then, through the mist, a flickering light caught my attention, a dilapidated trailer, seemingly materializing out of thin air. My curiosity mingled with trepidation, and I watched in awe as the phantom trailer matched my speed, mirroring my every maneuver. It was as if it possessed a mind of its own, a spectral entity haunting the very roads I traveled. I fumbled for the radio, eager to connect with fellow truckers who might have encountered this apparition. Static-filled voices crackled through the speakers, confirming that I was not alone in my experience. Other truckers shared their own encounters with the phantom trailer, a tale whispered among them, a ghostly legend passed down through the generations. The story spoke of an ancient curse, a vengeful spirit that inhabited the abandoned shell of a trailer. It was said to seek out unsuspecting truckers, preying on their souls and leaving behind nothing but whispers of its chilling presence. Fear gripped my heart, but curiosity compelled me to continue on this eerie journey. The fog thickened, wrapping around the truck like an ethereal shroud. The phantom trailer's rusted metal groaned and screeched, emitting an otherworldly sound that sent shivers down my spine. I could feel a malevolent presence emanating from the phantom trailer, a darkness that seemed to seep into my very being. Time lost all meaning as the world around me blurred into a nightmarish haze. I clutched the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white, desperately trying to outpace the spectral menace. The fog lifted, unveiling a clear stretch of road ahead. In an instant, the phantom trailer vanished, leaving behind only a lingering sense of dread. I pulled over, gasping for breath, my mind reeling from the encounter. From that night on, I became a part of the whispered tales that circulated among truckers, a first-hand witness to the spectral trailer that haunted the highways. Its eerie presence and inexplicable vanishing left an indelible mark on my memory, a constant reminder that the realms of the living and the dead are sometimes disturbingly intertwined. The night was black as pitch as I pulled into a desolate rest stop, seeking refuge from the weariness that weighed heavily on my shoulders. The neon sign flickered ominously, casting an eerie glow across the barren parking lot. A sense of foreboding settled over me, but the promise of rest beckoned me forward. I stepped out of the truck, the sound of raindrops tapping against the metal roof filling the silence. The air was heavy with an unspoken presence, a feeling that sent chills down my spine. But I brushed it off, attributing it to the exhaustion that permeated my bones. As I made my way towards the entrance, a suffocating silence enveloped the rest stop. The hum of vending machines buzzed in the distance, the only sound breaking the stillness. The flickering fluorescent lights cast ominous shadows along the walls, playing tricks on my weary mind. I entered the rest stop, its interior cloaked in an oppressive atmosphere. The air was stale, tinged with a musty odor that hung in the air like a specter. The distant hum of electrical appliances filled the space, creating an eerie symphony. As I walked deeper into the rest stop, whispers, barely audible, reached my ears. They slithered through the corridors, dancing on the edges of consciousness. The whispers carried a weight of despair and malevolence, their origin obscured by the labyrinthine layout of the rest stop. Doors swung open and slammed shut in the distance, their echoes amplified by the emptiness that surrounded me. Disembodied footsteps echoed through the hallways, their source impossible to locate. Panic gripped my heart as I realized I was trapped in a waking nightmare realm where the line between the living and the dead blurred. Fear surged through my veins as I hurriedly searched for an exit, desperate to escape the clutches of the supernatural. But every turn seemed to lead me deeper into the maze of horrors. The whispers grew louder, morphing into guttural growls that reverberated through the empty corridors. The walls seemed to close in, pressing against me from all sides. Shadows danced along the flickering lights, taunting me with their ethereal dance. My heart pounded in my chest as I pushed forward, adrenaline coursing through my veins. And then, as if by some divine intervention, a door swung open, revealing the exit. I sprinted towards it, my legs carrying me faster than ever before. As I burst out of the rest stop, gasping for breath, I glanced back one last time, catching a glimpse of shadowy figures peering through the windows, a final reminder of the malevolent forces that lurked within. Haunted by the memory of that night, I vowed to avoid rest stops like the plague. The ghostly whispers and sinister presence had left an indelible mark on my soul, a chilling testament to the supernatural terrors that lie in wait for those who dare to venture into the darkness.